welcome back to the All Hazards Prepper Show, your go-to spot for all your disaster prep information and how to survive wild SHTF scenarios. Plus, we'll chat about the chaos of the world, throw in weather updates, and cover any topics the All Hazards Prepper has in his head this week. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button on your favorite podcast platform and join us on social media. Now, let's welcome your fearless leader and the brains behind the All Hazards Prepper, Blake.
Welcome back to the All Hazards Prepper Show. This is your host, Blake. Hope everyone had a great Christmas, having a good holiday season. Hope everyone is staying aware, staying prepared, and staying alive out there, as we always say here on the All Hazards Prepper. But today, I want to do a situational update. Usually drop these earlier in the week, but decided to do it later in the week this week due to the holidays and all of that. And so we're going to start, as we always do, with the natural side, move on to man-made, current events, everything else side, and we'll give a quick update on where we're going here on the All Hazards Prepper over the next month, hopefully, if everything goes well. So natural side, we are in winter weather season / severe weather season here in the United States. If you have been following along, if you follow your National Weather Service office, your local office, depending on where you're located in the U.S., if you're in the Southeast, Mid-Atlantic area, we're, seeing some severe weather move through. I was searching through X the other day and saw someone that said, we got to go in the South, in Mid-Atlantic where I'm located. You kind of got to go through a severe weather season during the middle of winter to kick off any winter weather. And that's very true. Unfortunately, or fortunately, I would say unfortunately. So, yes, we are going through a little bit of severe weather. If you're down in parts of Texas, Louisiana, Alabama, I know there's a severe weather threat today and tomorrow. Sunday moves to the southeast, Mid-Atlantic area, North Carolina, South Carolina, under a level 2 from the storm office, the Storm Prediction Center, in Oklahoma. And if your local National Weather Service office, too, has been putting that out there. We are looking at, a chance of tornadoes, high winds, severe weather here in the Carolinas on Sunday. I think the time frame was around in the afternoon, 1, 3, 5 o'clock, somewhere in there. So unfortunately, we have to continue to stay prepared for the, all hazards. Realistically, if you are well prepared, you should be able to face any disaster that occurs, short term at least. If you have, that food, water, batteries, some alternative way of power, if it's a solar, version or a battery pack or, a generator, that's great too. And then having a plan as well. So if you have, a lot of these things in place that we've talked about before, you should be able to face all hazards during any season that we're in, or multiple seasons within a season, it seems like. Anyway, so we do have a severe weather threat the next few days. It's more raining and kind of chilly all day here in North Carolina. I hate the cold rain. It was a little bit warmer today, but anyway. But this pattern is likely to change. We are seeing models come out. A lot of the Climate Prediction Center puts out their estimates of what the next month could look like. In the middle, or not even the middle, really the beginning of January, moving into the middle / end, is looking like most of the country, will see a significant cold snap occur. And well, the cold snap's really, cold, or a front that brings in just cold weather for, short period of time. This is looking a little bit more like a long-term thing. When we're talking about temperatures, we're talking about below average temperatures. So that's why the Climate Prediction Center puts out. They're looking at, temperatures could be below average or will likely be below average over the next course of the month. And, if you don't know what your average temperature is this season, Google it. It's cool to look at your average temperatures and precipitation and weather throughout the year. So go and Google. All you gotta do is type in where you live, or type in the city that you live in, or the town, and average weather, and there will be actually it's on Wikipedia. If you are a Wikipedia follower or liker that is out there on the climate, there's actually, I think every city, maybe county, but has a climate tab on Wikipedia, and that shows, your average temps and weather and precipitation and all of that. It shows what type of climate you live in. It's pretty interesting. So go Google that if you don't know. But anyway, that's how the Climate Prediction Center puts it out. If you don't know about the Climate Prediction Center, go up there and put it out. I think it's called the Climate Prediction Center. I would imagine it is, because everything else is called the Prediction Center, a Storm Prediction Center, all those. So anyway, but the Climate Prediction Center puts out, I want to say, at least a few times a month, a graphic of the United States showing, what the future, and by future, the next 30 days looks like climate wise. Climate as in, weather, as in, temperatures and precipitation. So they'll put out a graphic, and, if it shows blue or heavy blue, usually you're in a below normal than your temperature. If it's showing, green or heavy green, you're showing more precipitation. So if you're looking at that map and you go pull it up, you will likely see a below average temperature for most of the U.S. I'm talking about Northeast, Southeast, Mid-Atlantic, kind of going out Midwest, a lot of the Western states until you get to California and all that, see colder weather this time of year. So that's not, not as, or not as, it's more predictable to see that. But anyway, if you look at that map, you'll see, your area, and see, what we're looking like. And most of the U.S. is showing that we're going to have a below average temperature and a partially above average precipitation. Precipitation gets hard, and we've talked about that before. It gets hard to look at long term. A lot of different environmental factors that go on with precipitation, of course. And I'm trying to get another meteorologist, weather geek on to really geek out on weather and get you to understand, how weather impacts, your decisions to prepare, and, give you some basic meteorology. So, anyone can, really become a meteorologist this time of year, really, so that we can make informed decisions whenever you're starting to talk preparedness. So I'm going to try to work on that this next month. Got a few other people lined up. We'll talk about that in a minute. But anyway, so we are looking at the possibility of winter weather. Of course, if you live in the West or in the North, up towards Canada, or if you live somewhere else in the world, we have a few viewers that live somewhere else in the world. You may see winter weather more than we do here where I live, and you should know how to prepare. And really, it's preparing for, what you're experiencing average in winter. Average in my area, it may snow or ice one time of year. We may get one event, and we're not talking a lot of snow. We're not talking a lot of ice. Sometimes we get pretty significant ice storms, and, on the rarity, we get a good snowstorm, but I know what my winter kind of looks like. If you live somewhere, and, that's completely different climate, you live in the West, Midwest, you live out in Colorado or something, you know that you're probably going to see snow every day, and you know how to prepare for that. So really just making sure that you prepare for those things. When I lived in Wyoming, I was way differently prepared than what I do, how I live in North Carolina. When I lived in Wyoming, I had a shovel with me, I had kitty litter, I had weight in the back of my truck, so that way I had some weight, so I wasn't, slipping, sliding around on the road. I was a little bit differently prepared for winter weather, and you need to be too. So really making sure, I put out a graphic the other day on Instagram, or infographic, whatever you want to call it, and I really wanted to break it down, your health-wise in winter, your car, and your home. Yes, there's a lot more, to talk, to unpack, and we kind of unpacked that on an update the other week when I went on the winter weather. Anyway, so we're in winter weather season. We are looking at, different things. We're in severe weather season as well. Other natural hazard things that are going on. I did see something interesting going far out west, towards California, talking about there was increased tides the last week or so. If you are, tides as in the ocean, the ocean in general, or everywhere, goes, in different tides. You have high tide, low tide, and, depends on the time of the day, you'll get high tide or low tide. And sometimes here in the southeast area, if you're on the mid-Atlantic, North Carolina, well, I think anywhere really, you get king tides, and king tides are just based on the moon, and you're going to get increased, high tides during that time, and then increased low tides. It just kind of it exacerbates the tide. Anyway, in California, they were having some very high tides, to the point where they were having to evacuate, move people to higher ground. It was becoming more of a flooding issue, a storm surge issue than a tide issue, really, a tidal issue. So that's pretty interesting to see. So if you live in a coastal area, if you live, somewhere where you can see water, not a lake. Lakes don't really have tides, but well, I guess some of the big lakes up here, and they may. But if you live near the ocean, you need or the sound, having a plan for tides is definitely important. Knowing, following your local meteorology office, your local National Weather Service office, they put out all that stuff about tides as well, all the watches and warnings. Most of them, if you live in a coastal area, they have a hydrologist that sits in their office. Most, not all, but they're usually at least one per state. But they tend to put out, some of the watches and warnings around tidal events. But making sure that if you live in a tidal affected area, how you could be affected. You might need to move to higher ground or move your stuff to higher ground. I know here in the Carolinas, if you live in a tidal area, most of your houses are above on stilts, which is good. So, but you may need to, move your stuff or move your car or, go somewhere else for a few days while that tidal event moves through. Anyway, saw that was interesting, thought, well, wonder how well prepared people are for just random tidal events. A lot of people prepare for storm surge during hurricanes and tropical events, but not maybe necessarily on just a high tide event. So thought that was interesting. Anyway, that's kind of what I'm seeing natural wise. Had a few earthquakes recently, maybe over December, November. We talked about that a little bit. And I still want to get someone on that knows a lot more about earthquakes than I do. So if you live in an area where you're affected by earthquakes or ever been through an earthquake, or you're an earth scientist or a geologist or something that deals with earthquakes or seismologist, I think that's what that's called. Anyway, just reach out to me and I would love to have you on the show. Anyway, so let's move on to the man-made stuff or current events, we'll really call it. I guess the first thing I want to talk about, and I meant to put this out, a situation I left out a couple weeks ago or a week ago, but I've had this nasty cough. It is flu season, people. I got my flu shot, but I had something totally different. So I was barely able to get a word out without having to cough. Finally got over that. So making sure, health wise, everyone washes their hands, take vitamins, staying up to date, staying away from people that are sick. Wear a mask if you really feel like it. I know, we're out of COVID time maybe, but well, not really, but we still see COVID numbers spike. And I'll talk about that kind of on the man-made technological human side. But anyway, so make sure we stay prepared that way. But on that note, I wanted to talk about the drones that we have been seeing in parts of the north. That topic this week has kind of gotten shot down a little bit. I couldn't tell you. I don't have an opinion on what it was. Was there something? Who knows? There's a lot of conspiracy theories out there. I try to prevent from making this a conspiracy theory, podcast. I certainly could get down that rabbit hole if I wanted to, but I try to prevent that. So I would just say with that, making sure that again, the misinformation that's out there, people saying it's this and that and aliens and it's Russia or it's a different country or Iran. I heard, everything in the book and then some about the drones. And I did some research on them and really trying to make an educated guess of what it could be. And my educated guess was, I think just a lot of people are, just seeing planes and different things up and, reporting it. And then, one person tells the next, so they think they saw this and they really didn't see that. And the rumor mill, changes. So I don't know. Interesting, something to follow if we see it down the line. The governments didn't really come out and say what they were, which is, they may not know what they were. They may just have been aircraft up in the sky and, that's what they were. And they didn't really want to say, if it was something else. I don't know. It's just quite interesting. I would just say other things going on in a human or, whatever we want to call this section, current events. Yeah, crime is up a lot this time of year. It's the holiday season. I might have mentioned this in November, but making sure, you do some basic, or not preparedness. This is, a lot of this is just keeping you safe. Self-preparedness. Lock your car at night. Take your valuables out. Every night I make sure, I lock my vehicle. Don't keep things in, plain sight if it's valuable on the hood or on the dash or on the seat or something. I'm making sure that you have good situational awareness around you. Going in the store, not just texting while you're in line or in that giant line. really making sure that you have good situational awareness. Carry something for self-defense. If it's a firearm, make sure you're doing it legally. Pepper spray, anything like that is definitely a positive. And just really, if you see something, say something. If you see something suspicious, for instance, today at work, I'll use an example. I was going to lunch and saw, I don't know what I saw. I work in a healthcare. So saw a suspicious person, and I was like, okay, he doesn't look right. He doesn't fit the character of someone that works here. So I'm going to call our security or our officers and get them to check out this person just to make sure. I'd rather be safe than sorry, and that's what you need to do in public. If you go, if you're driving to the Walmart parking lot and you're at the back of the parking lot and you see something, it's a little shady or else, call 911. Tell them, hey, I don't know what this is, but I would just like someone to check on it. That officer or that, dispatcher will be more than glad to do that. Yes, typically sometimes, the police are backed up right now. Law enforcement is, struggling on that note. But anyway, definitely just make sure that you're situationally aware. Other things that we're seeing going on, that's about it there. The next thing I want to talk about, there's a lot of talk, rumors. If you don't really follow, there's in the pandemic public health side, I do work in healthcare, so I have to have some attention to that. But there are a lot of different things going on in the public health world right now. H1N has picked up a little bit with chickens, of course. And I haven't done a lot of research. I just see little tidbits. I've been trying to research a little bit, but we are seeing an increase in H1N1. And COVID, of course, during the winter picks up during the winter a lot. And just really any things in general, and I don't know how much I've talked about this in the past, but, having good public health practices, washing your hands, making sure that if you buy food from the grocery store, that you are looking if it's recalled, make sure you follow the recall notices that are out there. We see that a whole lot nowadays with, listeria, salmonella, and all these different, other foodborne illnesses, let alone illness that's, like an H1N1 or something that's in meat. Making sure that you're, cooking properly, proper cooking temperatures if you're cooking meat, and really just, washing your hands, sanitizing your vehicle, anywhere if you're, have an office, especially if you got people coming in and out of your office, sanitizing, the doors and high touch points and all that, just like what we did in COVID times. If you are sick, I know there's a lot of debate out there about wearing masks and not. If you're sick and you go somewhere in a big space, I wouldn't be in a big space or be with a lot of people if I'm sick. But, having discretion of wearing a mask or not, if you feel like you have the flu or something contagious, definitely doing that. I know I don't know if we talked about this in the past, but a lot of research has come out about medicines as well to take when you're sick. A lot of people have, working in healthcare, kind of seen this. A lot of people have this cough right now. I'm not a doctor or anything. I'm an emergency manager in healthcare. I'm not a doctor or anything, but a lot of people have coughs and, what I would call it's crud. It's not the flu. It's not, COVID. It's not this. It's not that. It's just crud. Making sure that you take good care of yourself during that, it really will help you speed along the process. I had the crud before Christmas and between Thanksgiving and Christmas, and really just staying hydrated. And taking over-the-counter medications, if it's, a throat issue where you're having, mucus and all that built up. Again, how is it prepping? But it is making sure that you take Mucinex or something similar to it. It's more in your head, taking more of a sinus medication or allergy medicine. Really just staying hydrated. Cough drops are great. This time of year, it's so dry. Well, not right now, but it's usually dry. Having a humidifier run at night, does I do it every night? I am notorious for nosebleeds during the winter. Ask my wife. We had a little incident the other week driving to work. But making sure that you take care of yourself during winter. You should do it all year round, but early in winter, making sure you're doing that as well. So anyway, we will keep monitoring the H1N1. Anything else that we're seeing? I have followed this new group on X. I haven't really vetted it a whole lot yet, but I may share that out there. They post some good stuff. Again, you got to watch what you're looking at. It may be over exacerbated if it's too much or it's too, consider the source of all that. But anyway, so that's kind of what's going on. We got a little bit longer of a situational update, which is good. But that's kind of what's going on in the world of preparedness. Anyway, let's move on to this next month on the All Habs Prepper. What we're looking at, I do have a few guests lined up. I got one definite, and I got a few that were about different things. The first one we're going to talk about, and something we've talked about before, but I really like to hone in on, is that medical preparedness, staying prepared for medical emergencies, for trauma that you could face, or just your basic run of the mill, cut my finger and I don't have a band-aid. Staying prepared for those types of things, having that knowledge. Have a great guy on. He's a wilderness type paramedic. I think he's a former nurse. So it's a platform regarding this. He's just below us in South Carolina, I think, and definitely I followed him for a little while. Has some great information. So we're going to get him on the show next 2 weeks. 2 weeks. And no, next week. Okay. And this week moved fast. Anyway, and other things that are going on, I'm going to try to get, like I said earlier, try to get a meteorologist on. Really want to break down some winter weather or weather geek. There's a lot of people out there that are really good at the weather and explaining the weather, that are not necessarily degreed meteorologists, but do a great job at it. Make sure they're vetted and, posting reasonable models and stuff, and not, some people that are weather geeks just take it out of the water. But there's a few out there that I follow that do a really great job of that. So I'm going to try to get them on the show. And we're going to try to get some of our former guests on again on the show to see how what they've been doing over the last few months to prepare, new things, new trends that they're seeing in the prepper world. So we're going to try to get them on the next month as well. I've messaged a couple of them working on that. I've been messaging a lot of people and doing that, and a wide variety of people. So if you listen to this and you are a prepper, you're just starting out, I'd love to talk to somebody that just started prepping because of me or just because of the times we're in. I would love to talk to you about that as well. Definitely shoot me an email, or if you want to email me, I'm on social media, of course, as well, but theallhazardprepper@gmail.com. Best way to get a hold of me during the day. At night, I'll look at the Instagram and X and Facebook, and that's everywhere I am. But yeah, anyway, so that's what we've got going on. And we'll continually put out the winter weather, updates and stuff as we move through this season, and severe weather. And then the next thing, something I've been working on for months, and I finally got some time last week at night to really sit down and fix what I had done. But that is that family or household emergency operations plan. Been working on it for months. Literally, I think I started in June, and I just got this completed. I was hoping to give it out as Christmas gifts to some of my family, but my printer stopped working, and I was like, they need assistance doing this anyway. So anyway, I am going to be putting out that plan within the next month or two. I'm trying to figure out how to post it, how to get it where people can, and I'm trying to see if you're going to have to buy it or not, and how that would work. A lot of this plan, if you are a prepper, you probably will be able to identify and do this plan pretty easy. But if you're kind of new to prepping, you may need some assistance. So I'm starting to do some consulting on the side. I do have an LLC set up, the All Hazards Emergency Management Group. We have a website. Go on the link tree on the social media pages. There's a link down there, and we do have a website. I do some consulting. I do this for a living. I do emergency preparedness for I've done it for county, for city wise. I've done it for higher education. I'm now on healthcare. So I've done it for a variety of organizations. I do, that's what I do on a daily basis, is I help prepare for all hazard disasters through emergency planning, through training and exercise development, and through, coordination and with different departments and agencies to make sure, everyone's prepared. And I can do that too for your family. So, or even yourself. You really just got to identify who we're preparing. Or if you're a small business, happy to reach out to me as well. I've done some of those. I've done, business continuity plans before as part of emergency management. So definitely reach out to me as well. Happy to work on that, and I'm going to get that plan out within the next 2 months. It is a quite lengthy plan. It's 35 pages. It's not just something that you see FEMA put out or the Red Cross. It's pretty in-depth. It's something that I was passionate about. I took a lot of notes from different emergency plans I've written or seen family, household-wise over the last few years, and I really put it all into one document. It's not aesthetically pleasing yet. I'm still trying to work on that, but it's there. It's an emergency plan. I posted. I just kind of it's kind of in the format of what I would do for work or for an emergency operations plan for an organization. Maybe a little bit prettier. I usually do, but this is kind of what you would really need to identify. There's a lot of different steps in it and a lot of different things that I think it would help you in general, not even just as a prepper, but as just a person that running a household. If you have, several kids, definitely involving them and small pets as well. Some of them, I do put it in the plan. You can disregard this if you do not have pets. You can disregard this if you don't have children. I'll kind of edit it as you go if you want to. So anyway, still working on that. I just rambled a little bit, but that's all right. I'm still working on that. So anyway, if you are interested though on being on the show, like I said, if you have any interest in prepping, you are working in emergency management field, you work in, emergency services, whether that be fire, police, EMS, rescue, you're a meteorologist, or former military too, or current military, I would love to talk to you. There's a lot to learn from your fields, and definitely reach out to me. Again, it's theallhazardsprepper@gmail.com, theallhazardsprepper@gmail.com, and I will reach out to you as fast as I can. I'm on X, I'm on Facebook, I'm on Instagram, I'm on Reddit. I do get on Reddit occasionally. If you're not a Reddit fan or have no clue what I'm talking about with Reddit, it's out there as well. I found a few people that I want to get a hold of on there. But anyway, so definitely make sure that you're checking. If you're, a lot of people during the holidays, have some downtime. Check your preps. Make sure that you're prepared. Anyway, hope everyone has a great week. Remember to stay aware, stay prepared, and stay alive. Everyone have a good week. The All Hazards Prepper out.